Welcome to the Sports Arena, your front row ticket to the best in sports talk and entertainment. Great analysis, top-name guests, and news you can use from the sports landscape. So, take your seats, sit back, and relax, as you are now in the Sports Arena.
You know what you're capable of. Fix it.
And here's your host, Eric Wilson.
I'm like, all right, let's go. We get losses. I'm like, I need a minute. Let me collect myself.
Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Your man, Eric Wilson, Sports Arena Live here on a Saturday morning. As I do to start all of my shows, we need justice for Breonna Taylor. We need justice for Elijah McClain. We need justice for Vanessa Gillian. And also, I want to say rest in peace to Connor Hinnant, a little 5-year-old boy who did not deserve to lose his life. Let's get down to business. I have the privilege of welcoming into the show today WFLA Sports reporter, Miss Karen Loftus. Karen, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Eric. Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Doing very well. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Sports Arena this morning.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. Thanks for thinking of me.
Hey, no problem at all. Any problem. Anytime I can have a sports journalist such as yourself on the show to kind of delve into the Bucks and just kind of talk about her story and how she got from where she was to where she currently is, it's always a welcomed addition. So for those who don't know, Miss Karen Loftus is from the University of Richmond. I know you grew up in Maryland, but you did go to the University of Richmond. Started her career at WHAG in Hagerstown, Maryland, and has transitioned and moved herself up all the way to where she is now, joining us here in the great state of Florida as a sports anchor and reporter for WFLA. If you could just take a few moments, Karen, if you could just kind of talk to the people about your journey and, how did sports impact your life so much so that you were like, this is what I want to do?
Yeah. So, going back to college, I'll sort of give the Reader's Digest. So went to University of Richmond, as you mentioned, actually went in there pre-med on a bio track there and decided that was not something I wanted to do. So made a big pivot and shifted to journalism. I didn't want to transfer schools. And I thought about, what do I love to do and what's something that I would love to make a career out of? And I've always played sports, watched sports, and just been a sports fanatic. And I thought, well, I want to do sports broadcasting. And I knew I wanted to do the TV side of it too. So we had a print journalism program at Richmond, which is where I, took my interest and decided journalism was going to be my major, and then did a rhetoric and communicative studies minor and just worked on my own to get internships at CBS 6 in Richmond. And as you mentioned, from there, WHAG in Hagerstown, worked my way up to the sports director there, which was great to be the first female sports director that they'd ever had at their station. And from there, I went to Southwest Virginia in Roanoke with WDBJ7 as the weekend sports anchor, where I covered a ton of ACC sports. That was in the thick of Virginia Tech and Virginia, covered NASCAR and a lot of college sports there, some Big South. And then from Roanoke, I went to New Orleans, worked for the ABC affiliate there, which is where I first got my experience, covering pro sports, really. I got to cover the Saints and the Pelicans, and then also LSU football and baseball, which was an incredible experience. I was there for some exciting stuff. I was there for 3 years, and then just started here at WFLA in Tampa at the end of January. So I'm still sort of the new kid in town.
Gotcha. So, you have definitely traveled down the East Coast from Maryland all the way to here. And I have to ask you, can you just speak to some of your proudest moments? You did speak about being the first female sports director. I know that's a very high accomplishment, especially in the sports world. Besides that, I guess I would say, what has been some of your proudest moments?
I would say just, being able to climb the ladder and stick with it. As you know, this is a really tough and competitive business, and, you get rejected more often than not. So I'm proud that I've stuck with it. I'm proud that I've continue to push myself and learn and grow and move my weapon markets and continue to develop as a journalist, as an on-air personality, as a presenter. And then just things that I've been able to cover along the way. I mean, when I left New Orleans, I mean, that was when Zion got there. I was there to cover that. And, LSU's run, their football season this past year, I got to cover the Heisman Trophy with Joe Burrow up in New York. And then the national championship game was just an absolutely incredible experience for them to win it with that season and do it in New Orleans. I mean, you talk about one of those sort of pinch me moments of, did I ever think I would be covering such big events? And it's been really, you sometimes try and stop and realize, don't congratulate yourself too much, because there's still work to be done, but also take a minute to, acknowledge how far I've come.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I definitely agree with you on that. And I can definitely speak to the, going through so many no's to when you get one of that yeses, it's like you have to take a step back and really embrace the moment that is given to you. I can speak to that for one of the first times that I stepped on the Orlando Magic court covering them. It was kind of a surreal thing for me. And I had to just, I stopped and I paused and I was like, I'm here. I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but for this moment, I'm here. And, to watch this team over the last 2 seasons, make their run to the playoffs. I wish I could be with them in the NBA bubble, but, that's how things are right now. Speaking with Miss Karen Loftus, WFLA Sports reporter, I kind of want to dive into the Bucks because the season training camp has started. And you and I have both been on calls with Coach Bruce Arians and several players. I just want to get from your perspective how you think this team and this season is going to come together.
I mean, so far so good, right? They got all the pieces.
Right.
They had just an incredible offseason. And like I said, I got here at end of January, so it was right in the thick of offseason there. And that's sort of as much as I want to, guess as far as the season is going to go. They have all the pieces. They have everybody on the roster they need. Now it's just a matter of execution. Do they perform well together? And all of this under the umbrella of being in a pandemic where the guys aren't allowed to hang out as closely as they would be to develop that chemistry. And then you wonder, how are people going to stay healthy? And that's the X factor. I mean, if, some of their top players go down with, COVID-19, God forbid, how does that impact somebody? Because that can send everything just off a cliff, if everything is going well and everything is going as planned. And that's sort of the wild card that everybody's dealing with it this year.
Yeah, very true. Speaking of those pieces that you talk about, they've got, of course, the GOAT in Tom Brady. They've got a veteran running back, which I think was very much needed in LaShawn McCoy.
Yes.
No disrespect to, Ronald Jones or Mr. Vaughn, but
no, none at all. Yeah.
Having Shady definitely brings that experience and some of that vocal leadership. You've got Gronkowski, a man who is a top tight end when healthy and at his best, and people are calling him Brady's security blanket. And then you throw in one of the new members, if you will, to the team at the rookie, Mr. Tristan Wirfs. In your opinion, Karen, who do you think is going to be the most impactful for this team?
I think you have to think about what you sort of categorize as impact, because if you're talking about like total production, I'm going to go with Tom Brady, and I hate to be the obvious pick there, but I mean, his talent, his resume, everything speaks for itself. And he has all of the offensive weapons at his disposal, all the experience under his belt. He's, he was saying there's not a defense he hasn't seen. There's not anything he has not seen out there. So I think as far as production in an impact in that regard, I think Tom Brady is the dude. As far as some of the other guys, Gronkowski, Shady, those guys, they're reliable and they're going to have an impact in their consistency and in big play situations. But, McCoy's not an every down back. He's going to be a situational player. And Coach Arians even said that. He's like, Rojo's our dude. He's going to have the bulk of the carries. So I think Gronk and McCoy are going to be the guys that they use in situations. And I think they're going to have an impact in that regard, that those could be pivotal moments in games. And then you look at somebody like Tristan Wirfs. I mean, there's a lot of optimism about what he can do. But, the wild card with that is how quickly can he get up to speed? And with no preseason, you talk about that shift in the speed of the game from college to pros, and how quickly will he be able to adapt to live action of an NFL game?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt with his strength or his smarts. I think those are already proven, but it's just a matter of how quickly can he pick it up. But I'm hopeful that he's going to be a huge impact guy. Sort of, I speak about the Saints because I just came from there, but you talk about somebody like Ryan Ramczyk, who made an impact immediately for the Saints as a rookie.
Right. And, week one, Wirfs has the daunting task, if you will, of being able to slow down, stop, somehow just disrupt, if you will, Cameron Jordan. So that's going to be a very interesting matchup that I know a lot of people are going to be watching. Forget about the fact that it's going to be Brady versus Breeze. I think that in the trench competition is what a lot of people are going to focus on. So, second year under Bruce Arians, now he has all the pieces, as we both have said, and I have continually said this. I just feel everything is lining up for Tampa to be successful. With Tom Brady, the weapons that he now has in a brand new system. I guess my question to you is, Bruce Arians, how is this combination going to match up? Because for 2 decades, we've always spoke about Brady and Belichick. Well, now it's Brady and Bruce. And so it's different. It's one of those things where we're kind of asking ourselves, we know Arians is a quarterback whisperer. What else can he do to really elevate Brady to that next level?
I think the interesting thing is it's such a different dynamic than what we've seen from Brady and Belichick, like already, and it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. But there's obviously already respect there mutually between them. And even with Brady and Jason Light too, he's spoken about that as far as like the front office connection too. But just the continuity in the coaching staff that the Bucs have, I think is a positive, especially in this interesting year that we're having. But I'm looking forward to see how they work together. And even with like Byron Leftwich, and just see how the offensive mechanics all come together, and how much rope Arians will give Brady as far as how much he's going to be running the show.
Right. Karen, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining me on the Sports Arena. But before I let you go, I have to ask you, I am very hopeful that this season is going to play out. And once we start, it's not going to stop. So with that being said, you've got to give me what you think Tampa Bay's overall win-loss record is going to be for this 2020 season.
Assuming we have 16 games, right? Full season?
Assuming, yep. Once we start, we run all the way through. Yes.
I'm going to go 13-3.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. All right. 13-3 from Miss Karen Loftus, WFLA Sports reporter. Thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you again on the calls, and I'd love to have you back on the show anytime.
Hey, anytime, Eric. I appreciate you having me on.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. Wow. 13-3. She has a lot of confidence in this team. I'm still saying 12-4, 11-5, but your man, Eric Wilson, Sports Arena. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, happy Saturday to you. And I will definitely talking to you guys soon. Have a great day.